Hey up, my duck YouTube. I am not that good today. I've got a really bad cold, and I have done for the last 3 days. It's not Corona, it's all right. But today's video is going to be your best summer transfer window signing for the Premier League. This will be a series and go down until the National League North-South, when teams go from no longer being professional. So, starting off with Arsenal, and I personally believe Thomas Partey was the best transfer. He is 27 years old, so at the peak of his career, and is the vice captain of the Ghana national team, which does provide experience and an improvement in Arsenal's really dodgy defence at the moment. I wouldn't play him that much higher, to be fair, than the centre midfielder. I think he would be a bit wasted in the game at that point. But yeah. In Aston Villa, Ollie Watkins. I mean, what can you already... He's already scored a hat-trick against Liverpool, the champions. I don't think there's much more I can possibly say. I would describe him as a number 10. He plays a bit like Thierry Henry by driving at defenders and looking to make something happen when he gets on the ball. He is also adept as a winger as well. But I would say he's more adapted now to a traditional centre forward during last season at Brentford. At Brighton and Hove Albion, the only free transfer on this list, actually, Adam Lallana. He has made 30 appearances for England, and he provides experience, which I think is much needed. There are a lot of youth at Brighton at the moment. I think he'll be a bit like Wayne Rooney at Derby, to be fair, providing brilliant vision and technique on the ball, as well as leadership qualities on the pitch. I will ask, though, how far forward is he actually going to play? For me, I think it's either got to be an attacking midfielder or a central midfielder. I think he'll be a bit out of the game if he's a defensive midfielder and too slow to be any further forward. So, he'll just help you in Brighton develop further, like Tariq Lamptey and stuff like that. Burnley, from an ex-Brighton and Hove player, I think this is their only transfer, actually, for Burnley, is Dale Stephens. Much similar to the last transfer, actually. I think he's probably the pinnacle of his career, though, Dale Stephens. I don't think Burnley have done enough in transfer window. That's quite honestly a shambles. I think while they have the end of today and I think tomorrow to bring in a player in the domestic league, and so for that reason I think they should just bring in Harry Wilson. They've not got enough pace in wide areas, and they've got so many injuries at the moment. But on to Dale Stephens, he provides yet more experience. I don't see where Burnley are going to progress this season. It will be... They seem to be getting a bit found out. Chelsea, what do I say? They've made so many transfers this season already. And I'm going to go with Kai Havertz as the best one. He's technically gifted, two-footed midfielder who is comfortable with the ball on either foot and adept with the head as well. During his formative years, I think his style drew on comparisons to Mesut Ozil. Although Mesut Ozil now, let's not talk about that. But by the time he got to 19, and following numerous impressive performances in the Bundesliga, I would put him along players with other former Leverkusen players, Michael Ballack, Tony Kroos, Arturo Vidal, like that. I actually looked at German media has been describing as a combination of a lot and Alles Konne, a player who could do everything, which I think is really it sounds a great transfer to Chelsea. I think he scored a hat-trick against Barnsley. I think that was him. But I'm still yet to see enough of Timo Werner or any of the other transfers to really make a solid case for them. Crystal Palace for me, it's got to be Eberechi Eze, because I think he was actually arguably the best Championship player last season. He scored 12 goals, he had 9 assists in 37 Championship games. He's also still young and so pacey, and that will make defences terrified of him if he runs towards them and stuff. He is a Championship player. Take a bit of time to develop, but I think he will turn into a great player. Everton, I think Ben Godfrey, probably Norwich's best season. Well, not best season, sorry, best player season. And still got room to develop. But I think he'll provide much needed assurances for Everton at the back. Because it seems like all the teams at the moment need a defender. I don't know how much game time he's actually going to get though. But I believe when he does get a game time, he will shine. So yeah. Fulham, a loan signing turned permanent, to be fair. Anthony Knockaert. Anthony Knockaert, sorry. I think he does need to take a step up from being a Premier League player, but just better at being in the Premier League. He was great in the Championship, and there's a great record. For example, when he played for Brighton and Chris Hughton, I think it was then, he scored 15 goals and 8 assists. He also has a good running engine, and he plays very well throughout the whole game. He won't just have moments, he'll play well throughout. Leeds United, I mean, who else can be but Rodrigo? He scored 59 goals in 220 games for Valencia. That's on average almost a goal every 4 games. And he's scored internationally 8 times in 22 appearances for Spain. This is what is actually required. Let's face it. For a striker at this level, that is the statistics you want. Leicester City for me, I've gone for a bit of an unknown. I could have gone for anyone. I went for Wesley Fofana because I think he could end up a bit like Jamie Vardy, an unknown gem from a different country or an unknown league and stuff. Although, to be fair, you could turn around to me and say, well, he could just be the next Joe Linton. Goodness knows, I don't know. I've not seen enough of him to really have a say. I would describe him a bit like a soldier in defence. And for a young person, does know quite a lot about the game, to be fair. So it does provide youth, which is actually needed, and a fitting replacement for Ben Chilwell. Liverpool, some argue there's not been enough transfers, some argue that there's been too much. I think it's all right. I think don't want to tamper too much. I've gone with Diogo Jota. Or Jota. I think it might be Jota. His pace, work rate, ability to play in a number of positions is all very attractive traits, to be fair, to join Liverpool. I mean, last season he scored 16 goals over the last two... Well, not over the last season, but over the last 2 seasons, 16 goals in the Premier League. But I believe it is more what he does off the ball and the work rate, which is key. I mean, he goes for Wolves, so it must mean that he's a good player in some department, because they wouldn't finish 7th, I think, without players like him. Manchester City... a long list of transfers. I'm going to go with Ruben Dias because Manchester City actually needed to strengthen the defence, and this is what has been brought in, along with Nathan Ake. He's had great leadership already, being captain at Benfica for few of the games and stuff. Despite this, he is only 23, so it just seems like an ideal captain and leadership skills on the pitch as well as being young. He's a proper hard tackling defender, to be fair. Good on the ball, good on the air, scores a few goals, and I think will definitely overall improve Manchester City's defence. Manchester United, I would have said Jadon Sancho at the beginning of the transfer season, but that never happened. What have you done, Manchester United? Instead, I've gone for Donny van de Beek. He plays a bit more of an offensive role compared to other central midfielders in the league and just other teams in general. But according to the former Ajax Boa, Van de Beek plays best as a number 6 position, which is a central midfielder. He's a player who has excellent control and a great eye for a pass, as he links up with the attack and is dangerous as he makes runs into the box. It sounds like a good player to need, a bit like the player behind Bruno Fernandes. At Ajax, he was a player who wanted to keep the ball at his feet. And Ajax captain Joel Veltman described Van de Beek as a player who works very hard and can play between the lines. So these are all very good attributes and things said by his former colleague. So I don't know why you wouldn't want him in your team. Newcastle, for me, it's got to be Callum Wilson, because I think, let's face it, anybody could be made better than Joe Linton of last season. And he has already got top-flight experience with Bournemouth last season. I know we were relegated, but was that really his fault? More to the fault that half the players just didn't show up half the time. But he's already scored 4 goals in 4 appearances, so what can I say? He's already naturally slotted in to Newcastle. And has formed a great partnership with Andy Carroll, although to be fair, Andy Carroll does get injured quite a lot. But when it's there, you'll see the profits, I think. Sheffield United, I'm going to go with Ryan Brewster. He scored 11 goals in 22 appearances last season on loan at Swansea. I mean, that's 1 goal per 2 games. This would make the lack of goals at United at the moment, if the lack of goals at United at the moment will just be improved then, clearly. He's a natural goal scorer, whether it is by in the aerial duels or spectacular goals, free kicks, or even just a sloppy one off a shin. I think that's just a lovely habit to have, and it's crucial for the Premier League. Surprised Liverpool actually let him go, to be fair. Southampton is another former loan signing which they made permanent with Kyle Walker-Peters. He already knows the club from a loan last season, and the fans love him as well. He's young and pacey, as you can see from his season last time. And at his time at Tottenham, he scored 1 goal and 5 assists in 24 appearances, which isn't that bad going for a fullback, to be fair. If you look at Tottenham, though, they're probably best signing this season. I'm not going to say Gareth Bale, because that's boring, and to be fair, he's not actually done anything for the last few years. I'm sure he will rip it up, but because he is just Gareth Bale. But I think the best one's Sergio Reguilon, because he impressed most in the opposition's half last season for a defender. Or I think he's a defender. I mean, that's amazing. He is an energetic, almost frantic fullback. And Reguilon's trademark is to gallop into the area from deep, and rather than cross early. He's not afraid to take on defenders as well. He actually registered 1.6 successful dribbles per game last season, which was the 4th highest of all La Liga defenders who played over 10 games, of course. And that's just as a fair comparison, really. Reguilon also registered 1.3 key passes per game, which was the 5th highest of all La Liga defenders, and had 5 assists in all competitions, plus an assist on his Spain debut against Ukraine this month. I think it was this month, it might have been the previous month. With La Liga saying, actually, he was the best left-back of the league last season. How much praise does this guy want? I mean, clearly a great signing for Tottenham there. West Brom, for me, Grady Diangana. I mean, this was an absolute steal. How has West Ham let him go? He's such a superb young talent who was on loan at the club last season. He plays a bit like Ronaldinho, to be fair. And he's already scored in his 3 appearances. What more do you actually want from this player? I mean, an absolute steal, if you ask me. Well, West Ham have invested back in, but not that much. I think the best player they bought in was Thomas Suchak. He has a bit of a reputation as an energetic box-to-box midfielder with both defensive and attacking qualities. He's also known for his strong physical presence, that's thanks to his 1.92 meters, 6'4" frame. And he plays for, I think it's the Serbian national team. Although I might have got that wrong. It might be the Czech Republic. I can't entirely remember, but he's done well at the moment. And finally, but not least, Wolverhampton Wanderers with Nelson Semedo. I mean, that is a great replacement for Doherty, isn't it? He's made 14 appearances for Portugal and 82 for Barcelona. He makes the team just more offensive and offers more creativity and goals, doesn't it? Semedo is mainly known for his speed, his ball control, his dribbling and his passing. And I think he's only a defender as well, so that, of course, makes all the better with the amount of goals. So, as I said, I'm sorry that History of Your Club has not been out this week. I will be doing that from normal on Thursday, hopefully get better by then. And then I'll do the Championship next week and just carry on a weekly basis from there. So, see ya.